everybody. I'm going to be posting this on my personal and business pages. I am back to trying to be on purpose again as far as I feel like I'm a natural teacher, a natural sharer, sometimes an oversharer, but I do know that I have helped so many women just not only in my business as an instructor and a teacher, but also when I used to share, some of my health and cosmetic surgery journeys, some of the reconstructions that I've had to have from mistakes that I've made when I was younger, and just really being a resource of my own trial and error. So hopefully I could reach somebody, and even just things that I'm going through that I feel like are not always shared and talked about. Back when I first started doing YouTube videos and sharing my journeys, there weren't very many people. There's a lot of gatekeeping, and even in the beauty industry there weren't really a lot of online courses and resources, and so I still strive to be that. And through all my struggles this year, my goal for next year is to really start showing back up and sharing again, because I have no problem being an open book and being vulnerable and answering really intimate questions, as far as the things that I go through, whether it be business, personal, all the above. So with that said, I wanted to come on and talk about the next surgery that I'm having. I know some of you have seen me post about it. I've dabbled in sharing what I'm going through, but I really wanted to let, especially for my women followers or the men who have women in their lives, I wanted to kind of talk about it. I am having a hysterectomy. I have actually dealt with endometriosis for the last 10 to 12 years. I was diagnosed with that when I was around 26. I had gotten an IUD. I'd always, we're going to start talking about women stuff, so if you don't want to hear it, on to the next. But anyway, so I had gotten an IUD when I was around 25. I had it for a year. It was causing me crazy pain and terrible bleeding and intercourse with my partner at the time, just miserable. It was really affecting my life. So I asked them to take it out. At the time they told me I was crazy. It couldn't be from that. I ended up asking to be switched to a different doctor, and this doctor said, oh, it sounds like something called endometriosis. So endometriosis has been around, but the last 10 years it's become more known. A lot of women have it. It's when your uterine lining grows outside of your uterus, sometimes on your bowels, sometimes your just your ovaries, sometimes it causes scar tissue. And they basically told me I probably wouldn't be able to have children. So my partner and I at the time, we had planned on being together, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't have kids, maybe we should try. So when we went to have my son 2 years later at 28, I had been on birth control to kind of control my cycles, and I took my birth control out. I said, it might take a while, let's try. So I did have my son. Almost immediately, they weren't right about not being able to have kids. Thank goodness, I got my blessing from that. My uterus really did not like me while I was pregnant. I was sick the entire time. I had hyperemesis gravidarum, or however you say it, and it's literally where I puked 15 times a day. I was laughing during my contractions because I was puking and laughing, and the nurses were joking with me because they're like, we've never seen somebody laughing and smiling so much. And I'm like, yeah, but I know I'm going to stop being sick once my child is here. So needless to say, my pregnancy was miserable. I had a lot of problems. My labor took 30 hours. I had a lot of scar tissue. They ended up having to give me the Pitocin. They had to break my water. He was upside down, all those things. So I dealt with a lot of problems during pregnancy. After pregnancy, I dealt with extreme postpartum. They could not get my hormones back balanced until I went back on birth control full time. So after my son, about 6 months later, I got back on that birth control, the NuvaRing. I kept it in. That was the only way I could keep myself balanced and feeling fairly normal. My son is now 8, and last year I told myself, if I didn't have any more children by 35, I did not want to try to go through that again with, my history. So I went ahead and asked my doctor about, getting my tubes removed and doing an ablation so I could possibly get off the birth control, maybe, let my body kind of do its thing. And he was 100% on board. He said, yeah, we could try it. You don't want any more kids. We can remove your tubes, help a little bit with, cancer. My grandma did have that. So we went ahead and did that. And unfortunately, that kind of pushed me back into another hormonal, it felt like postpartum. I honestly thought I was probably dealing with thyroid issues because I've occasionally felt like I went hyperthyroid before. But all those systems are connected. So I did like have my doctor send me for thyroids. I had them send me for labs for, I even had them do an MRI on my pituitary gland, because when I was younger, they had did an MRI and I had like a little cyst, and I read that my adrenal glands and my cortisol can all be connected. So the last year I've not felt like myself. I've been up and down. I have been diagnosed with PMDD, which is where 75% of the month you're PMSing and you're a psychopath, and I don't know what's what. I've ruined a lot of my friendships and relationships. Like, the only people I feel like I've been able to stay consistent with are the ones who know me and knew me before I was starting to be like up and down. And to be honest, it's really affected me. But everything happens for a reason. You know, I couldn't have stayed on birth control forever. Sorry. I do think that it is inevitable that my body just has always struggled with the hormones, has always struggled. And I have just learned and like accepted it and like maybe made peace with it. But I've had a lot of new symptoms after the ablation. Like I said, like my cycle wasn't always a problem. It was the actual like hormonal cycle. So now that I'm not bleeding as much, I'm still cycling. So the thought now is we need to remove my uterus and my cervix. We're going to keep my ovaries, even though the ovaries do affect the hormones. I have endometriosis. It does come back. I also have been diagnosed with what is called adenomyosis, which is similar to endometriosis, but it's where the muscles of your uterus are affected. So that causes more pain, more problems. And to be honest, I am nervous about the hysterectomy. I know a lot of women are so happy afterwards. I'm 36, I'll be 37 in March, and my surgery is next week. So I'm like 36 and a half. I do have one child. I've made peace with not having more. But to be honest, I'm a little worried about not like feeling like myself afterwards. Especially when it comes to intimacy. A lot of us are, I am a single mother. I have a partner now, but I don't have a long term, I'm not married. So like, I'm a little bit scared to lose that part of myself. But I do know that the benefits outweigh and like the risk at this point in my life. The biggest risks are probably going into menopause a little bit early if, down the road, maybe like a few different things with like bladder or like prolapse, but like all those things can naturally like cause problems anyways. And, I'm very healthy and fit right now beyond, the hormonal things and stuff that I deal with. So all that to say, I have concerns. I'm a little scared, but I do know that the risks, and the possible benefits are going to outweigh. And the amount of women that I've talked to that are so happy afterwards, I really hope that for me, like instead of making peace with the pain and the uterus that has done its job but needs to be retired, I'm hoping and praying, and I just know that like for once, hopefully like I'll have some relief afterwards. And maybe with my hormones of being so crazy my whole life, maybe I'll go the opposite way and have like an awesome second half. So yeah, if anybody's dealt with this, I would love you guys to give me some feedback on how you felt like after. I'm definitely concerned like years down the road or like a year later, especially like when I said it comes to feeling like yourself, especially when it comes to intimacy, things like that. So otherwise I am excited. I have made peace with it. I've got a few more days. My mom's going to help take care of me, and I'm also looking at some like gluten intolerance as well, which I'm going to make another video about, and I'm also going to go back to making videos about my updates on all the other things too. So like I said, I just wanted to come on. This was a very long video because there's a lot of info to share, and I'm going to make more after this, but I really wanted to come on and just kind of talk about the upcoming surgery, the concerns, why it happened, the history that got me here, and I'm about to run out of time. So I'll continue this series. I might make another video afterwards about what I'm doing to prepare and some of the other things that we've tested myself for, and my symptoms as far as like making myself feel better too. So anyways, have a great day, and I'm gonna wrap this one up and we'll continue this series soon.